All right. Hello. I think we are live and ready to go. So, my name is Jason Delancey. I am here just to share what I am working on today. So, the inspiration for here is a little bit of an experiment. It's really a mix of two things. One is something referred to as Customer Zero, where I have used as a way of doing a user experience test or a developer experience of signing up for a product and providing feedback on the success or failure of any given developer signing up. But by recording it and having it available for engineers, product folks, and people who might be interested in getting some feedback, being able to see the context of what someone was trying to do and things like that by recording the entire session, it actually comes pretty rich with information. So that's part of the spirit of what I'm doing here. The other side of it is that there is a notion of what that onboarding experience is, and it has to be very smooth. You only have a brief period of time to get across what your product is and does, how to get started, and actually complete that onboarding process. So today I'm doing an exploration of something that I saw from a hackathon using Dropbox sign APIs. And so I have not used Dropbox APIs for anything previously. I'm not affiliated with Dropbox or anything like that, but I may participate in the hackathon. So I thought it would be a good start to just demonstrate what my experience is trying to get started and see if within the next 30 minutes or so, I'm able to actually get an API call up and running, which would be the objective. So with that in mind, I'm sharing my screen to demonstrate the process. So I did find this URL from the hackathon. I don't know if that's the way I would go in normally. So if I were to say, I'm looking for a sign API, or maybe I'm looking for an alternative to some of the other ones that are out there. Let's see, I get a couple of options. Actually, the Dropbox Sign API comes up as a sponsored option. I may end up here at developers.hellosign.com to try to figure out what it is and whether or not I need it. So usually when I do these sorts of things, I do have a little bit of a contrived use case in mind. And that is the case here today as well. I have on a few occasions worked on projects where having a statement of work can be valuable. So I think that's the sort of thing I'm looking at accomplishing here, is whether or not the generation of a statement of work and then actually getting that agreement pushed through is something that would make sense. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and say, if I were here, the other thing is this link. I don't know if I have to use that link or if there's anything special about it, but having Googled it or DuckDuckGo or whatever your search engine, I've led me to this site, which is clearly meant for developers. The Sign API documentation, a reliable, flexible set of e-signature tools that can be used to power digital agreements and turn slow, outdated business processes into a competitive advantage. I think depending on what you do, you may or may not be familiar with this process. I think a lot of people, and with a lot of credit to, they may not like me saying it, but DocuSign in this area, I've experienced that quite a few times. And so this suggests there are a number of features. To me, other than the sign element, I'm not completely familiar with what all of the feature set might be. Although this seems to say these are the features I'm going to love. So templates, I guess I would have expected that, a template of a legal agreement or something like that. That lets me on an essentials, a standard, and a premium plan. I can do 5 templates. Oh, I don't want to talk to chat sales. I really don't like pop-ups very much, especially when they interrupt what I'm doing. API, email, technical support, audit trail. and that makes sense, going through and being able to see what that audit trail is, or to make sure that everything was done. Mobile friendly. I don't know if that would be my use case, but that's okay. Multiple languages. If you're international, makes sense. Signature types, signer fields. That's all stuff I would imagine. Um, Encryption, data validation, SMS authentication would require a higher level plan, bulk delete. API dashboard, documentation, test mode, SDKs in 6 languages. I get access to all of that, but not OAuth. I don't know if that would be an issue or not. Decline to sign, template links, embedded requesting. It's my first reaction is sort of that some of these distinctions between these first 2 plans seems rather arbitrary and surprising in some ways that's sliced that way. But what is the pricing? Dropbox sign API pricing. That's interesting. There's one for, are these the same? Unlimited signature requests, embedded signature into your application. Okay, so Essentials is $75 a month for signatures. Wow. That is, whereas if I just use it like a SaaS product alone, it's $15 a month, which is not bad. So I would imagine for a lot of small businesses that makes sense. Using the API, probably means you are stepping up a level in terms of level of branding and integration and those sorts of things. Yeah. Anyways, okay, I'll probably come back to that, but let me go ahead and sign up for an account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up with that one. Agree. I'm mostly just doing an evaluation here for my own purposes, just to learn something new today. Oh, I have to choose a plan already. Just need to sign a document. There is a free plan. But there is also a free trial. Okay, well, that's good because I want to try it out. Oh, I had to put in a credit card? I'm not quite ready for that. So that may change my evaluation pretty quickly here. What is the free plan? Let's see what that actually almost finished. Okay, so I guess I got an email. I'll go check that out. All right, so I can create a password. So I'm going to fire up my password manager and generate a new password for this. Dropbox sign. Okay, got one. That's fine. All right, so now I've gone into sort of an onboarding tool, which is good. That's great. One of the things I'm not sure about though yet is whether or not I will actually be able to use the APIs with the plan I signed up for. I kind of went really fast clicking the free and then ended up with it almost makes me want to go back to the hackathon and see, the commitment of a credit card right off the bat is difficult. I mean, it's good, I think, from a business standpoint. Like if I was already committed and I know I want to use Dropbox Sign, I know it's the solution to my problem, but I'm not entirely sure if it is or not yet. So for whenever needs signing by you or someone else, okay, format a document once, then save it as a template. Makes sense. Connect tools you already use, Gmail, Word, Salesforce, and so on. Great. Have more questions. Okay, there's help. All right, so it looks like I must have signed up for a something free. It's just, I don't know where I am. Okay, so I get 3 signature requests, 0 templates. So, so I guess that's the thing here. Without a legal document or something like that all ready to go, that may limit my ability to actually make headway here. So, I think that does suggest, from an onboarding experience, even with putting in the credit cards, you have to have someone that's already generated a legal document. Otherwise, they wouldn't be signing up in the first place. And if that's the case, then you have a business who's not going to be shying away from saying, hey, I'm ready to do this. What I was thinking here was that there may be cases where I want to do a contract job, which means I need a custom statement of work and things like that. And this would get me in place for doing some automation around those sorts of things. But yeah, so right here I do see production access to the Dropbox sign API requires an API plan. So, all right, so I'm gonna have to go over to the dev post and see if there's any information about how to do this. So, if you've been paying attention to some of the things I've been doing lately, I have been doing some um, hackathons, and there's one by Dropbox. Still has a week left to go. If you're interested in joining, um, so I don't remember this video being here before, but maybe it's been a little bit since but yeah, here, what to submit, setting up your test mode, sign up for a Dropbox sign account. I think that's what I did. Generate an API key. Here's the API dashboard. Try it console. Test. So maybe that's what they mean, generate. Wait, maintenance with an outage for sign and fax scheduled for January 7th, 2024. That's a long ways away. I don't need to know that considering I just signed up today. Apps and keys. Maybe that's where I want to be. Why is this open and with this being a dashboard experience, it's kind of surprising to me that it opens a new. All right, so I can generate a new key. So we can just say hackathon. Yes. Looks like I can copy that API key at any time. Great. Might need a callback. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get started. So there's, I think this is useful insight here, right? Is that there's products, pricing, API integration, teams, documents, templates, home. But there's not really a documentation, anything to walk me through this process. I guess I can click up here and maybe go find some documentation. But here I am in the API. You can fully test every endpoint and almost all of our features in test mode. And then how do I get into test mode? Am I in test mode now? Or okay, so now I'm open. See, again, this keeps opening a new tab. So the user experience there, and then here's that outage. 4 months from now or 3 months from now, I really don't need to know about. I thought I already closed and dismissed that, so it is surprising it brings it back. But okay, this dashboard will help you monitor the health of API integration and troubleshoot. Um, okay, let's learn more. Now, that is an example where it does make sense to open up in a new um, tab because I'm learning. That would give me the ability to go kind of side by side and start looking through. But here's maybe okay. So there is a dashboard. This gives me an overview of the dashboard. Using it. All right. What about the SDKs? We're going to be doing a web application, but there's okay. So here we are. Oh, okay. So that dropped me right over to GitHub. Migrating from a legacy SDK. I just signed up moments ago. Contributing also, I just signed up moments ago, right? So I'm not ready to migrate. I'm not looking to contribute. Maybe I'm not even interested in what has changed. So I'm all the way skimming down to installation and usage. So let's see. Let me bring my workspace over. Um, um, I guess a few other things I can maybe mention while I'm bringing this here in view is that I gave it a little bit of an introduction. Also, in terms of expectations, there is a little bit of a code of conduct behind this. The intention is to be kind. People put a lot of time and energy into what they've created. The intention is not to be disparaging about what someone else worked on. There's opportunities for improving, and that's always a good thing to know. But it is important to acknowledge that. I already mentioned the 333, and that I am doing Dropbox. I'm going to do this a few more times with other coding tools and other hackathons over the coming weeks. I believe I'm using an AI-powered code generation tool on Friday or tomorrow, maybe. No, that might be tomorrow, Wednesday. And then on Friday, so some of the Square APIs is on my hit list for something to go and check out and see how it works. I'm using just a easy streaming tool for this. I'm not trying to do anything too fancy. And I'm rebroadcasting it out to YouTube and Twitch. So if you discover on one of those, eventually I'll actually create a website once I start gathering some of these tools and figure out what I want to do with it all. So anyways, here we are. NPM install Dropbox sign. I guess that's where I'm at well, I haven't actually. So, I mean, I'm kind of at a hello world stage. I'm not sure, I don't want to install this into my application quite yet. Let's maybe take a look at the quick start. Usually I do look for something labeled quick start or getting started. Hopefully there's only one or the other, that there is a good way to get going on something. So, because at this point, I forgot to set the timer, but, I'm maybe 20 minutes in. Mine's a little bit for the introductions. I have signed up for an account. I got onboarded. There wasn't really that many questions, actually, right? I don't think there were any onboarding questions. Which in some ways is surprising. I just had to create, click that little free link and suddenly set up a password, and here I am. But sending your first Dropbox API request, great. Maybe I might have to create like a dummy document just for now. I don't actually have a legal contract I'm ready to run with quite yet. Even if I did, if I'm evaluating Dropbox Sign API versus one of the others that are in this space, I might not be ready to use my end product quite yet. I might be still doing a little bit of a proof of concept. It's an interactive guide, meaning embedded consoles along the way to send API requests without navigating away. Nice. I like that. approach. Dropbox Sign API at a glance powers e-signature functionality that can be built into applications, non-embedded or embedded signature flows. Okay, that makes sense. And I interpret that as I might have a web application that you can literally just click there, as opposed to something that's sort of out of flow, where maybe it kicks off an email message. I click the email message, go to a standalone site, click a button to sign, and call it. Um, so, it might be interesting to know a little bit more about some of these use cases as well, and what they have in mind in terms of the flow. So let's see. That seems to be the differences. Wait, so now here's an interesting thing. Things to know. I was just talking about that, not realizing they were going to go into it. So it is cool that they're going to go into it, but it does look like this takes me somewhere else. So things to know. So presumably this is like a prerequisite. Right. So non-embedded means, yeah, you sign on hellosign.com. And it all is sort of done via email. Embedded signing, it's directly on my site instead of being redirected. Display the document to the user at any time using a secure iframe. And I think this is what, it's an important distinction, because this is more what I had in mind, which is the agreement is probably a little bit more custom, in that I have a menu. The way I was thinking about it is like a menu of options that can be added to a statement of work, and that by using the user interface, filling out some forms, checking some boxes, generates an agreement, and then it becomes available for someone to, if I get to the Square APIs, pay and agree to the statement of work all in one go. So I think that makes sense. But it is kind of interesting, that the quick start takes me over here. So build with all endpoints using test mode. That's exactly what I'm doing. So that's perfect. I'm glad they have this free plan. It was a little bit hidden, but I guess I stumbled upon it. So there will be a 402 error code if I don't include the test mode. Okay. Rate limits, a lot of details here. I'm not quite sure that I need any of it. Nice that they include. So I don't know if the audio is going to come through the stream. I'm going to actually have to check that out later. If it, okay, well, so this is in some ways very helpful, because this is a 3-minute video, and it looks like more or less it got down to the generating the key step that I did as well. But this is maybe showing me some things with actual data, and I don't have data yet. Anyways, that gets me. Okay, so that was the how we charge section, which is kind of interesting. Like at the API dashboard is covered in the how we charge. Oh, okay, so it's sent me back to the overview. Should I have started at the overview? API reference guides, walkthroughs, libraries, testing the sign API by setting test mode to true on the API requests. This is actually, I do say that in the overview, this was something that's mentioned very early, so I do like that. I do like the layout of the design of this. It seems very clean and spacious. How we charge endpoints, rate limits. So yeah. So so some of this stuff, things to know. How we charge, that was, it keeps taking me back to the overview. So it's like, maybe instead of this being a list, it should just say, make sure you know everything that's in the overview. And the difference between embedded and non-embedded actually feels like something that should be over here too, because it speaks so much more directly to the workflows. Um, okay, an embedded testing tool. What is that? Wait. So I got something as of August 2020, no longer supported. Why? What? Um, all right, well, forget that then. Sending an API. Let's send your first API request. Yep, I got the free one. I got my key. Using the try it console. Is that what this is? Or I could do it on my own. Okay, so if I go back to my dashboard, I can copy my key. Don't steal my key, okay? I mean, it's a free plan, so there's only so much you'll be able to do with it. I'll generate a new one because I think I said this was specifically for the hackathon anyway, so that's fine. Don't be nice. Don't abuse services online by stealing API keys of the stream. If it happens, I'll probably have one viewer, so I'll track you down. Let's see. Using the try it console. Yeah. So, okay, so that's the target server. There's my key, get account. I say get. All right, and it returns me JSON. Nice. Okay. Wonder how they created this thing. Is this a plugin that you could just add to a website? I mean, obviously, using Open API spec and Swagger and things like that, there are some tools that can be embedded, but this looks very custom. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's all good. Okay. But yeah, this idea of an interactive tutorial, great job. So it updated the documentation showing that it was able to get information about my account that way. So now here, I can get someone else's account information. Is that the idea? So this is what the code looks like. So I can kind of copy and paste it. Combine your API with the curl example and send the command from your terminal. I mean, it would be nice. I don't have to paste my API key in over and over again here. That might be my only concern. Plus, like if it was in an environment or something, just so that. Anyways, sending. I'm just now. At this point, I see that they got something that I can try out, which is great. But now I might just skim a little bit without actually doing things, just to get a feel for it, and whether or not it's the API is something I would be interested in using. So this is the request. NDA with Acme and subject. Okay, so this kicks off an email message with the right URLs. So in some ways it is so is this for the non-embedded request? Yep, non-embedded signing. Okay. And then that'll probably make it easy to create the URL that's on hellosign.com that someone could go and agree. Great. That actually seems pretty straightforward. I'm going to spend a little bit more time going through this with my own sample. Generate a sign URL. So, all right. I'm coming to the end of this page of the quick start. So obviously I'll have to go play with it a little bit more on my own. I'm probably not going to share that because at this point though, we're only a little over 30 minutes in, but we have achieved getting a little bit more of a feel of what Dropbox is all about, we were able to create an account, and I was able to make an API request right through their documentation. And I have a path to go forward with some other examples, either doing the full thing as just kicking off an email request. Maybe I should go, try that out, see what it looks like in my inbox for the non-embedded pathway that they mentioned. And then ultimately doing the embedded pathway so I can pull in my web application with all the buttons and forms to kind of automate the creation of that agreement that I want my end users to have. All right, so I guess that's my first experience given Dropbox Sign API a try. I'd say that went pretty smoothly overall. Maybe a little bit of the hiccup around understanding the pricing and everything, but that's okay. And I will continue on my journey, and you can look forward to my hackathon project, and maybe a little getting started tutorial might come out of this a little bit later on. So with that, I'm going to stop the stream and have a wonderful rest of your day.